Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'm going to look at the series Low by Rick Remender, Greg Tocchini, and then eventually Dave McCaig on colors. It's collected in two very large hardbacks. The second one just came out, and I believe the first one, this one here, just got reprinted. You can see this one's even thicker. To give you a sense of the size of the thing, here's Brandon Graham's Multiple Warheads, regular trade paperback size. So this is quite a bit larger. It feels pretty much like the active area on an 11 by 17 art board. I think it's a little bit smaller than that. I didn't measure it, but these are big, nice, big, really well made hardcover books. The paper inside of them is a really, really thick, really glossy paper. And so the colors reproduced, I mean, absolutely fantastic. They glow like it looks like you're looking at it on a screen almost. Um, Beyond the fact that this series is just filled with like phenomenal, fantastic artwork, beautiful colors, I think it has a really compelling story. It's a really fun, exciting sci-fi story, but it's also something that is relevant to what we're all going through these days, I think, where the world's gone pretty crazy. And I think a lot of us are feeling a lack of hope or feeling discouraged a lot. And this book deals with hope. Rick Remender, the writer, says in the intro that he's a naturally depressive person with a kind of nihilistic, pessimistic outlook. And he purposely set himself the challenge of writing a character, like, can I write words for a character whose base value in life is hope? And that's what the book is about. The main character he's talking about is a woman named Stell, and her husband here, they live in a city that's been sunken down into the ocean. So here you get, I mean, these beautiful science fiction views. Um, every image in the book, like every panel, pretty much looks like a concept design. It looks like, I think Tocchini, who did the artwork, has done a lot of concept design. So it looks like concept design for movies and video games and stuff like that in every panel. Really thoroughly imagined worlds. But this world has, humanity has purposely sunk themselves in the ocean because the sun is expanding and the surface has been too hot. They've sent out probes hoping that these probes will find another world and be able to relay that back to the humans, and then we can move off planet to a more inhabitable world. But my sense is it's been thousands of years since humans sunk themselves, and the society has developed in these underground situations. So you can see like what kind of art you're going to get throughout the series. Something else I really like about Tocchini's artwork is some of the stuff is so believable. It looks like photo reference, but then everything else is so fantastical and loose and fluid, that it really just feels made up. It just feels like this guy's so good that he can breathe like life into characters as if they're real without, doing any photo reference. I mean, maybe a face and a hand here and there or something, but this guy obviously has a fantastic imagination. They have these awesome suits that they wear that are underwater that are called the helm suits. And Stell is married to, I forget his name. He dies pretty quickly. No spoilers. It's like issue 1. So the child of these two characters, the children of these characters are going to inherit the helm suit. And there's Merrick. Stell's the mom. Merrick's the son. And then Tejo and Della are the daughters. And they go on this journey basically to recover the probe that has fallen to Earth, which brings with it, hopefully, this is Stell's hope, coordinates for a planet that they can live on. A lot of the societies that she encounters have like totally abandoned hope, and they're running out of air in these gigantic pods that have sunk, and the air quality is getting worse and worse. So the societies have given themselves into pure hedonism. It's like we're all going to die in 3 years anyways. So, let's just screw and do drugs and have fun until the end. I think that's probably a pretty accurate depiction of what humanity would do if we knew that we come to an end. Sometimes I wonder why we don't all just decide to quit having babies and just like party it out for 80 years and have that be the end of humanity on my more depressive days. So that feels accurate to me. But I like that Stell is always fighting against that. You'll see the colors in the book tend towards these really, really kind of hot, warm colors throughout the book. They reproduce really well. Like the book is hot to look at. Here's another example of like those really, really hot colors. There's some quotes that I've tagged in here that I like on both sides. Like you can tell Rick Remender is having an argument with himself throughout the book, trying to convince himself to be more hopeful, but then putting the counterpoint in, like hope is just the body releasing a chemical to keep it moving forward, a trick the mind plays on itself. Things like that. There's other ones that are more positive. Even when what we are isn't what we wish we were or what others want us to be, even when we want to turn away from it, when it becomes a burden, a compromised soul dies a million deaths in that final claustrophobic moment of realization. Always serve your own truth, Merrick. Never compromise yourself. Do what is right till the last second, even if the world collapses around you. And if you can do that one thing, my boy, you'll at least have made your old man proud. So I love that kind of inspirational dialogue that's in the book. And then you couple that with all of this fantastic sci-fi stuff, and it really gives the sci-fi stuff meaning. Just some more cool artwork to look at. Again, gorgeous colors, beautiful character design. Really, like things that just make me go, wow, cool. Another shot I really love. Just great pose. The coloration is really good. The first 7 issues of this, and I think that's where that ends. Yeah, this is the last page of the last spread of issue 7. These were all colored by Greg Tocchini. He did his own colors. I really, really like the colors in that. When they switched colors at first, I was skeptical. They switched to Dave McCaig, and the colors are a little bit flatter, but I think he does a better job playing with like value and warm, cool contrast over the course of the book. Like they stick to this really warm palette for a lot of it. But I think as Dave McCaig gets more comfortable in the book, he actually makes the art a little bit easier to look at. My biggest complaint is some of the stuff, because it's so, I don't want to say monochromatic, but analogous. It's all stuck to like one chunk of the color wheel. It gets a little hard to decipher. Something else that changes is that it looks like Tocchini is able to spend a little bit more time producing slightly cleaner line work once he's not doing the colors. So the book gets to me a little bit more decipherable in these later issues. You can see Tocchini's like painted work that he does with the inks on the covers here. And just some more of the really cool designs. Like there's different underwater societies that live in different domes, and they've evolved around like different political systems, so you get different designs in there. Some more cool designs on like these helm suits that they wear. And everything's just set up like these cool bent blades. They're set up to be able to then make like awesome designs throughout the book. I like the introduction, like I said, of these cooler moments against all the hot. Here's another really beautiful page with some beautiful quotes. When we stop taking pleasure in the basic experience of being alive beat by beat, we lose everything that makes life worthwhile. We must relish in every sight, every touch, every memory. My daughter's playing in the garden. Joel, that's her husband's name. Joel kissing my neck. Merrick's elation at a new invention. These memories are luminous enough to light my darkest hour, to face whatever awaits us above. We all of us carry burdens that seem too heavy, losses we can't conceivably move past, the things that once gave purpose to life. It is all too easy to give ourselves over to the trauma of the past, allowing pain to define us. There's a medicine for that, hope and perseverance. Light brings light. And no matter what we face, there's one thing we can control: our outlook. It's not about ignoring the pain or mindlessly believing things will simply be better. It's about finding the joy in participation. And when the weight of the past pulls us low, we must find the strength to release it. So moments like that resonate really strongly with me. I'm by nature, I think, as realistic and negative as I can be. In the end, I'm generally an optimist. Over the past couple years, me and my partner Tori, especially Tori, I've been with her as she's gone through a lot of terrible things, deaths in the family, and being separated from her son. And she's more pessimistic by nature. And so I guess this book resonates with me too, because it mimics some of the conversations we have. And I'll veer into, really bleak outlooks on the world quite often as well. But I love that the responsibility is on you in what you make of your life. But then you get the flip side of that, and I think this is kind of Tori's experience in life. She's gone through a lot in life. So here, Della and Tejo, the two daughters, they've gone off and lived two very different lives because they were kidnapped and sold into slavery. And she's offering the counterpoint. Everything that idiot priest ever taught our mother, the idea of hope shaping reality, is sadistic. I spent my life thinking everything was fucked up because I didn't believe in happier days hard enough. I, in some way, had failed to paint the reality that I deserved. Because of mom and her bullshit, I thought it was my fault. And I really like that. You can hear Remender there, like, his pessimism sinking back in. And it is true. It's like super dangerous. Like, I'm constantly trying to get Tori to remain hopeful, and she's so scared at times to be hopeful, because every time she's been hopeful before, it's been snatched away with her. Whatever she's hoping for looks like it's coming, and it gets snatched away, and that makes it more painful. So that within this crazy science fiction with like robotic bears and mermaid ladies, and there's like robot hornet people and all that. There's these human elements. Here they do get, obviously at some point they're going to get to the surface. I hope that's not a big spoiler. And God, I just love, like, the colors are so hot throughout the whole book. And that's very intentional. It's obviously about a world, even when they're in the ocean, it's about a world where the sun's taking over. And because of this nice, thick, glossy paper, like, God, those colors, it almost hurts to look at them. So production quality on this is phenomenal. Here's another. He's so good with the expressions, getting across the pain and the hot heat. In both books, there are also collections of, like, the pencils, sketches for the covers, alternate covers by other artists, pretty much anything that's been generated for the book. Here's a look at Tocchini's thumbnails for one issue, and then even some sketch work. So this kind of stuff here shows me how much he is generating just from his imagination. No matter how realistic, and like, the bodies feel so fluid and alive in their motion and so natural in their weight. But here you can see it developing out of a total scribble, this gigantic pile of what's going to become one of the covers eventually. So I love access to that. That's the first book. A quick look into the second book as well. Again, just way cool cover, like way cool mech stuff in there. Tocchini also plays with panels, does interesting panel stuff. So here's one where they're like fighting in an underwater pirate dome type of thing. And there's these block panels. So the panels are three-dimensional, and they're representing like screens that the audience is watching that are like holographic screens. So the audience would be seeing that character three-dimensionally. But I really like the idea of that also being panels on the page. There's a lot of that throughout the book that I didn't really tag. Here's another interesting quote about hope. our inner attitude has a real effect on the outer world, primarily because it has the power to affect others. So there's this really nice view of hope. Like, it's not that it really changes the physics of reality, it's changing the way other people behave. And then right below that, you get the negative argument. So hope is a lie to trick people into action. No, hope is a lie that becomes true. Hope means you try, and when you try, you inspire others. So that philosophical back and forth is a huge part of what I enjoy about this book. It's another example of, like, wow, way cool image, amazing colors, gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Some more cool, like, once you're on the surface, what those citizens look like. This page in particular also strikes home for me because I, like, around a year ago, moved from California to Alabama, and I was in the Central Valley of California, where when California lights itself on fire, as it's prone to do these days, everything's covered in a brown smoke like this. And it's an agricultural community anyways that I grew up in, my hometown. So it's often just covered in dust and dirt from, like, pollen and the farmers working the crops. And this is the air quality in the dome that cell is from going bad, and people losing their oxygen supply and people revolting. And some of that just felt a little too familiar to me. I'm really glad I got out of there. So I think that resonated with me in a powerful way. The book, I think it was initially started as a reaction towards all of the chaos of, like, the confusion and stuff around Trump's election and the years following that. But now that we've hit COVID, I think it's even more relevant. So it's a book that it feels like someone really tapped into the times. The writer really tapped into the times. Here's some more cool panel stuff. They're fighting on, like, a three-dimensional structure, and the characters are falling over, but then panels, part of the structure becomes panels. Just fun stuff like that. Some cool stuff with rhythm throughout. Here's where I can see Remender really talking about the times we live in now, politically and philosophically. All that remain are zealots driven by reptilian tribalism. We shame, villainize, or kill anyone who doesn't agree with every nuance of ideologies we've allowed to become our religions. We destroy ourselves to maintain the purity of these rigid dogmas. How could anyone resolve anything under the conditions that we have created? We carry the hope of our species and respond with petulance. So he's obviously reacting to the current times. There's another one. Just cool mechs, awesome pages. The splashes in this book are great. I mean, all the art in this book is great. I don't know much of what else Greg Tocchini, I don't know why I can't pronounce that right, Greg Tocchini has done. I know he worked for Wildstorm back in the day before Jim Lee sold it to DC, and did some books back then, and then I think he just disappeared into doing concept artwork for a long time. But that's getting near the end of the book. I don't want to spoil anything. It's the journey of them, like, fighting to bring their city up and launch it into space and try and find this other land. Again, more cool access to pencils. So that's the issue 16 cover pencils, and then you get the issue 16 watercolor. All the covers are mostly painted great by Greg Tocchini. Something, when I've looked up Tocchini's work online and delved more into what he does, something that I really like that he does, and one of the reasons I was a bit bummed that he quit coloring his own work, is he tends to ink not in black, but either in, like a burnt umber, kind of sepia tone color, or in blues. Like, he'll switch between warm and cool ink and have washy moments in it. And it seems like he uses that more painterly, even though it's all line work, it has a painterly feel to it. And that allows him in his coloring to have a painterly feel. So I really like that they got the examples of that in here. I don't see any blue ones, but I've seen online he sometimes inks in blue as well. And then more examples of his sketch process, where you can see how loose and, generative. It's like just make a scribble and start to pull an image out of it, which is something I really enjoy in drawing. So it's really cool to see examples of that in the back. Here's another great one where you see all of the scribble work. It looks like he's working digitally. So do a scribble, make another layer, tighten it up, make another layer, kind of ink on it, make another layer, color. So these 2 books collect the whole series. Like top flight production. These are from Image, but absolute top flight production. They collect a lot of really cool extras. They have the script for the final issue and all of the inked art. You can tell there's probably digital inking going on, or if not, Tocchini scanning it in and adding a lot of gray tone on the computer in place of ink washes before sending it to the colorist. So really a lot of cool production stuff, and it's really nice to see a series that's both so just cool in terms of action, adventure, design, cool mech, shit exploding, mermaid ladies, sexy people fighting it out, and then also having this really thoughtful exploration of a very relevant topic. I think makes this a must-own series, a must-buy series. So everyone, I would highly encourage you to check out those 2 books. If you want another really gigantic, nice, thick hardcover book, I just found out from Sean that The Strange Death of Alex Raymond is getting reprinted. We had a misprint issue where we have some blue in the end of the book that didn't get printed. Here's some that did get printed. We have some pages where the blue didn't get printed, but apparently the book has now been reprinted, and we're waiting for Sean to get a unbound copy of it for approval. And as soon as we do that, we'll have them send it over to the bindery, and hopefully this book will be on shelves sooner than the predicted date of December 1st. So all throughout the misprint issue, we've continued to sell pre-order copies through comic shops, and especially on Amazon, we've continued getting a lot of orders. So I think by the time this comes out, the first print will be largely sold out, and hopefully we'll have a second print afterwards, but not sure on that. So hit up Amazon.com, hit up your local comic book store. You can order it from Diamonds. Hit up a local bookstore, wherever you normally get your books from. You'll be able to order yourself a copy of Strange Death of Alex Raymond by myself and the legendary Dave Sim. Thanks for following along with this one-man review. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.